Buenas tardes a todos. ¿Cómo andan? Estamos en directo con el lanzamiento de un cohete Ariane5 de la Agencia Espacial Europea, que llevará a la órbita 2 satélites de comunicaciones. La ventana de lanzamiento es de 100 minutos. La hora prevista de despegue es a las 21:03 UTC. Arianespace lanzará un cohete Ariane5 ESA y en una misión denominada VOZ.
Well, so Stefan, today's mission will be the first Ariane5's launch of the year, and I understood that you have two very special passengers today.
Indeed, we start tonight the Ariane5 year with two special guests and very loyal customers to Arianespace. We have on board MEASAT 3D for MEASAT, and the journey with MEASAT has started in 1996. It was the first MEASAT satellite we launched, and tonight this will be the fourth we will be launching. And we have also a satellite for India and its new space organization, NSEAL, a satellite built by ISRO, the Indian Space Agency, GSAT 24. And tonight it will be the 25th satellite we will be launching for India.
Arianespace lanzará un cohete Ariane5 ESA y en una misión denominada VA-257, para poner en órbita los satélites de comunicaciones MEASAT 3D y GSAT 24. La masa de carga útil total es de 10.863 kilogramos. Ariane5 volará en la variante ESA y con las últimas actualizaciones de rendimiento. MEASAT 3D, un nuevo satélite de comunicaciones, que reemplaza tanto a MEASAT 3 como a MEASAT 3A, se basa en la plataforma Eurostar-3000 de Airbus, y tiene una masa de lanzamiento de 5.648 kilogramos. Previsto para más de 15 años de operación, MEASAT 3D está diseñado para tener una potencia eléctrica de 12 kilovatios. Transportará cargas útiles de banda C y Q para servicios directos al hogar, DTH, y una carga útil de banda K de alto rendimiento con haces de puntos de múltiples usuarios optimizados, para ofrecer comunicaciones de banda ancha de alta velocidad en Malasia, para conectividad a Internet. También llevará una carga útil de navegación de banda L, para el CAT-TESAT de Corea del Sur, como parte del sistema de satélites de aumento de Corea, CAS. MEASAT 3D estará ubicado en 91.5 grados este. GSAT 24 es un satélite de comunicaciones geoestacionario estabilizado, de cuerpo de 3 ejes basado, en el VOZ 3K, enero de 3000, de ISRO, para proporcionar servicios de transmisión de DTH. Es un satélite de comunicación de 24 bandas Q que pesa 4.181 kilogramos. El motor de la etapa central principal CRIO.
Welcome to Road to Space. In less than 25 minutes, Ariane5 will launch its 231st and 232nd satellite.
Well done, David. You are
Ahora seguiremos con el cohete.
to understand the key stages, the key phases of this flight. We have some images that are about to come up on our screen. I wonder if you could comment on them.
Yes, sure. So, Ariane5
We will have those images in 1 second.
In 1 second,
and
yeah.
you will comment on all the flight, all the trip we will have tonight. Yes, those are the images. Listen to
So
you.
yes, Ariane5 will lift off from KOUROU in the northeastern coast of South America. At 8:0, the Vulcan engine of the main stage will ignite, and once we have checked that the engine is working fine, the solid propellant boosters will be ignited and will lift off at 7 seconds afterwards. The launcher will climb and then perform a gravity turn, progressively tilting the trajectory towards the east. After 2 minutes and 20 seconds, the boosters will be separated, having finished their job. Around 1 minute later,
Vamos a tener las imágenes en unos segundos, dicen, jajaja. No cambia más esta gente Arianespace.
And you see on the world map the towers and the little dots. These are the tracking stations that will follow the launcher along its trajectory. At 8 minutes and 40 seconds, the main stage will have finished its job.
El motor de la etapa central principal criogénica, Vulcain 2, se enciende desde TI1 segundo hasta TI7,05 segundos, mientras el ordenador de a bordo comprueba el buen comportamiento del motor, y autoriza el despegue por el encendido de los dos propulsores de cohetes sólidos. La separación de los propulsores se activa mediante una detección del umbral de aceleración, y el carenado se libera aproximadamente un minuto después, cuando el flujo aerotérmico se vuelve menor que el flujo requerido. El carenado se puede desechar tan pronto como el flujo aerotérmico menor que 1600 W/M2 al 99%. El apagado de la etapa principal ocurre cuando se alcanza la órbita objetivo intermedia, y la separación ocurre 6 segundos después. Después de su separación, la etapa principal se pone en modo de giro plano, abriendo un orificio de ventilación lateral en el tanque de hidrógeno.
Yes, this panel gives the status of all the different systems that are needed for the launch. So all the lights need to be green for the launch to happen. If anything happens, one of the lights will turn.
Este procedimiento de control proporciona un reingreso y un amerizaje en el Océano Atlántico para misiones A5, SAGT o estándar. El encendido de la etapa superior ocurre unos segundos después de la separación de la etapa principal. El comando de corte de la etapa superior se produce cuando el algoritmo de guía detecta la órbita del objetivo final. La secuencia de separación de la nave espacial comienza 2 segundos después.
So the launch will be the 257th launch of the Ariane family. It will be the 113th launch of Ariane 5 and the 80th launch in the ECA configuration, which is the configuration with the cryogenic upper stage. And tonight we will be delivering close to 10 tons of satellite mass into geostationary transfer orbit.
Well, so before this launch, let's have a look about those 2 satellites aboard the rocket. 2 communication satellites that will be launched into orbit. In this first short report, we'll be looking at GSAT-24, a powerful and innovative satellite that will be providing high-quality TV, telecommunications and broadcasting services to India. Let's have a look.
Under the fairing of today's Ariane 5, GSAT-24, a telecommunication satellite weighing 4,180 kilos. This passenger, owned and operated by New Space India Limited, NSIL, was built by Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO. This Ku-band satellite will provide direct-to-home telecom services in India.
A ver cómo me sale. No, todavía no puedo. No puedo hablar. Y la verdad, me mandaron a hablar. Pero me requiere un esfuerzo enorme. Por eso estoy tratando de usar este bot, que la verdad no me río porque me da bronca. No encuentro algo como la gente.
This sector, which is primarily meeting the demands of the television broadcasting services in India, will really get a
10 years.
Launching this passenger is an important new step for India's space program.
With the successful launch of GSAT-24, NSIL would be owning and operating nearly 11 Indian communication satellites in orbit and meeting the service needs of the users in India on a commercial basis.
A new milestone in the long-time partnership linking Arianespace to India. Their story began in 1981 with the launch of Apple satellite on board the third Ariane 1 ever launched. 41 years later, GSAT-24 is now all set and ready to begin its 15-year journey to space.
So GSAT-24 will be the 25th Indian satellite launched by Arianespace. So David, it's a partnership that began a long time ago, 1981, 40 years ago.
Yes, indeed. We have a long and strong relationship with our Indian customers, and let's say on a less technical note, during all these years we have been lucky to taste excellent Indian food with our customers in French Guiana. A few years ago, I was happy to act as launcher technical manager for the launch of GSAT-11.
So we'll talk about Indian food. It's amazing food, I like it very much too. But let's talk about the GSAT-24 that will be placed into a geostationary transfer orbit. Can you tell us, David, a little bit more about this position, please?
Yeah, so geostationary orbits are very interesting, in particular for telecommunications, because they have a unique feature, which is that the satellites in this orbit do not move as seen from the ground. So how is this possible? Well, it takes 24 hours for the Earth to do one turn around itself.
To join the rest of the MEASAT fleet. The Malaysian operator chose the European company Airbus Defence and Space to build the youngest offspring in its fleet.
The first time Airbus worked with MEASAT was for MEASAT-3B, which was launched in September 2014. I'm pleased to say the satellite is doing very well, and Airbus is very happy to be giving birth to a second bird less than 8 years after. We hope that the family will grow again in the next few years.
Using its powerful C and KU band, the payload will be able to deliver direct-to-home television in HD, 4K and even 8K throughout Asia, Australia, Africa and Southern Europe. Thanks to its powerful Ka band, the satellite will also be able to provide internet services to populations so far unserved and underserved to close the digital divide in Malaysia.
It is not just a new satellite project for MEASAT, but it's a national important project to close the digital divide in Malaysia, allowing us to expand the rural connectivity from the existing 3,000 sites to 10,000 sites, and upgrading the internet speed from 30 megabit per second today to 100 megabit per second.
With this new satellite, MEASAT will be able to bring high-speed connectivity to more people living in remote areas in Malaysia, thus helping millions of people gain access to internet.
MEASAT is proud to support the Malaysian government Jendela initiative, which is the country national digital infrastructure plan to connect the unconnected, to provide 100% internet coverage to the nation by 2025.
Yet this passenger is full of surprises. Sitting next to it in Ariane5's fairing, a hosted payload has been integrated by Airbus for the benefits of KTSat, a South Korean operator. This L-band payload will be part of the national system called CAS, providing accurate location information within several meters.
We designed and built a very innovative hosted payload for KTSat for the Korea Augmentation Satellite System, which is called CAS, designed to significantly enhance air traffic management in South Korea. Bon voyage, MEASAT.
MEASAT 3D and its 5,734 kilograms of advanced technologies has been designed to fulfill its mission for more than 18 years.
Well, MEASAT 3D will be the first satellite to separate from the Ariane 5 rocket tonight. This is a very important moment, as it will happen at exactly, you ready for it? 28 minutes and 30 seconds after liftoff. David, this timing seems to be extremely precise.
Yes, it is. During the preparation of the mission, our teams perform very precise simulations, taking into account all the data from the launcher and the satellites, to be able to predict the exact moment when the targeted orbit will be reached, and then the time that it will take to turn MEASAT 3D in the targeted orientation in space before separation. So this is where the 2836 comes from.
Después de la separación de la nave espacial, se podría realizar una maniobra de fin de vida útil para reducir la vida útil compuesta superior en órbita, y la secuencia de pasivación de la etapa superior es realizado por la orientación del escenario hacia una dirección segura con respecto a las órbitas de la nave espacial. El giro de la etapa superior a 30 grados diagonales con fines de estabilización. La desgasificación de los tanques a través de válvulas.
In Japan and in Singapore, to be close to the many customers we have in this region.
Estamos en directo con el lanzamiento de un cohete Ariane5 de la Agencia Espacial Europea, que llevará a la órbita 2 satélites de comunicaciones. La ventana de lanzamiento es de 100 minutos. La hora prevista de despegue es a las 21:03 UTC.
Yes, indeed, things can happen, and of course, since we control a lot of things, sometimes we get red lights, then we need to do additional checks.
Can storm, for example, storms, can it turn green into red lights?
Yes, indeed. I mean, on the weather green light, it can turn red if at the time of the launch there are thunderstorms that are too close to the launch pad, or if we have very high winds.
El cohete es de 2 etapas más 2 propulsores sólidos.
Yes, we are commenting a green panel, so even if everything is green, the information I just got is we are going to delay the launch of the rocket just 15 minutes. So what I suggest is we can have a look at the sum up, what we will be explaining, what we will be watching tonight, and we'll be coming back shortly to comment this launch that is just postponed, just 15 minutes. It happens. Let's have a look at tonight's menu, and we'll come back very soon.
Tonight on Road to Space, we are live from Europe's spaceport in French Guiana.
Hey. Couper le chic, hein. Là, on reprendra.
tous de DDO. Suite à un rouge ensemble de lancement, le temps décompte sera arrêté à moins 7 minutes.
El cohete es de 2 etapas más 2 propulsores sólidos. Arianespace lanzará un cohete Ariane5 ESA en una misión denominada VA257, para poner en órbita los satélites de comunicaciones MEASAT 3D y GSAT 24. La masa de carga útil total es de 10.863 kilogramos. Ariane5 volará en la variante ESA y con las últimas actualizaciones de rendimiento.
Que tous les moyens restent prêts pour la reprise de la chronologie à 0-7 minutes en cas de retour au vert.
Hi, this is Dan from ESA.
La NASA asignó a 2 astronautas veteranos al primer vuelo tripulado de la nave espacial GSAT y 2 hábitats, estableciendo un récord de la compañía para la reutilización de propulsores. El segundo cañaveral, la única carga útil identificada en el lanzamiento exactamente en la fecha prevista. Prueba de misiles antisatélites de noviembre del 2021. El primer segmento de la torre de integración para el gigantesco cohete Starship DESDE. La torre salió del cielo y suscríbete si no lo has hecho. Nos vemos en el próximo Mañanero Espacial.
Imperdible el misión aeroespacial de Ariane. Imperdible el mañana aeroespacial de Ariane. En explorando el espacio.
estaba cambiando el bot. Porque el de Microsoft se llevaba todos los recursos del PC. Como siempre, estos amigos de Arianespace nunca nos informan de nada. Vamos a revisar la cuenta de Twitter.
Buenas tardes a todos. Debido a las comprobaciones complementarias para numeral VA257, el H0 se pospone unos minutos dentro de la ventana de lanzamiento. Nos mantendremos informados.
El lanzamiento está demorado, no aclaran cuánto, pero tienen 1 hora y 40 minutos de ventana. O sea, hasta las 22:45 UTC. El lanzamiento está demorado, no aclaran cuánto, pero tienen 1 hora y 40 minutos de ventana. El lanzamiento está demorado, no aclaran cuánto, pero tienen 1 hora y 40 minutos de ventana. O sea, hasta las 22:45 UTC el total de la ventana. Este mes se viene el lanzamiento a la Luna en un cohete de Rocket Lab. Eso será histórico, llevará una carga de 25 kgs que investigará la futura órbita lunar de Gateway y el lanzamiento está demorado. Este mes se viene el lanzamiento.
Bueno, no puedo hablar así. Mira lo que me sale. No sé, parece un rallador.
Un motor de Blue Origin acumuló más de 5.000 segundos de prueba y 36 arranques, mientras completaba la calificación de estabilidad de combustión, el cardán del motor y el reinicio del motor. Después de una remodelación menor, será el primer V4 probado en el histórico puesto de pruebas 4670 del Marshall Space Flight Center desde su renovación.
de DDO suite au retour au vert des moyens lanceurs. Le nouvel A0 visé est 21h50 00 TU. Le temps décompte démarrera à 21h43 00 TU. À tous de DDO suite au retour au vert des moyens lanceurs. Le nouvel A0 visé est 21h50 00 TU. Le temps décompte démarrera à 21h43 00 TU.
TEORICAN.
Hello, welcome back on Road to Space. We just interrupted the launch and the program. Just at the time, David, we were talking about this green panel and we were talking about those green lights. And just at this time, one turned into red. What happened?
Yes, that's right. So during the checks that were done at the end of the filling of the tanks, there were some measures that were seen that were a bit out of the usual measures that we see in this case, and therefore, of course, we take no risks. So we stopped the countdown and we analyzed these measures to make sure that there was nothing that could stop the launch, and therefore now the teams have finished the analysis. Everything has come back to normal, so we can launch again the.
And as you told us before, space is hard and those things happen. For those who are joining us now on Road to Space, stay tuned. In just a couple of minutes, we'll be connecting to Kourou in the French Guiana to follow the launch step by step. But now let's have a look at the menu tonight.
Tonight on Road to Space, we are live from Europe's spaceport in French Guiana with our teams. In just a few minutes, we will witness the launch of 2 revolutionary telecommunication satellites aboard the Ariane5 rocket. Meanwhile, here in the studio, we'll be chatting to one of space's top experts. After the launch, we will give you an update on the latest developments of the new rocket, Ariane6, and learn more about them.
Liftoff. So what is happening right now to the 2 passengers at this time?
Finale lanceur. Le nouvel I0 est 21h50 00 temps universel.
Yes, so we just...
Okay, so that's the DDO we've just been hearing.
Right, we just heard the DDO announce the start of a synchronized sequence.
Yeah.
And the new liftoff time, which will be in 6 minutes and 40 seconds. So yes, in this last minutes, we will have the final pressurization of the tanks, of the liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen tanks. We will start in a few seconds, a few minutes, the opening of the valves that would feed the main engine with propellants. And shortly before liftoff, we will have a handover from the ground equipment to the launcher, who will control the power and all the last steps before liftoff.
At this time, is it still possible that Ariane5 doesn't lift off?
Yes, again, in these last minutes, there's a lot of tests that are going on. And so, of course, we have done some controls before to make sure that everything goes as expected, but there are some tests, so these tests could always stop the launch.
Okay, so it's a stressful time since teams have been working for weeks and months, and so we have some images of that campaign that we'll be watching, and if you're okay, David, you will comment all those images for us.
Of course, yes. So here we have the arrival of our first passenger, MEASAT 3D, who arrived in Kourou by boat. The container was transferred to the spacecraft preparation facilities in the Space Center, where it was unloaded in the clean room facilities. After that, the inspection and testing of the spacecraft, the satellite was mated on the flight adapter, and then it was fueled. And the second spacecraft you see here coming out of an Indian C-17 airplane. It was also transferred to the spacecraft preparation facilities for testing, and then mating here on the launcher adapter. After that, the spacecraft was fueled as well. And after that, it was transferred to the final assembly building, where the Ariane5 launcher was being prepared in parallel. Here you see GSAT-24 being put on top of Ariane5. After that, the fairing that you see here was mated with the double launch structure and put on top of MEASAT 3D, which is the upper passenger, and the whole stack was then assembled on top of the launcher.
Estamos en directo con el lanzamiento de un cohete ARIANE5 desde COHETE, en la Guayana francesa. El cohete es de 2 etapas, más 2 propulsores sólidos. Estará lanzando 2 satélites en órbita. Uno de Malasia y el otro de Corea del Sur.
Just today, the launcher was brought out of the final assembly building and was transferred to the launch pad, where the operations started yesterday to prepare the launch.
Thank you very much, David. We should ask to have a Road to Space sticker on the next rocket.
That's
just something I would like very much. It looks like everyone has done an incredible job to make this all happen. If you look up on your screen now, you will have some live images from the Guyana Space Center in KOUROU, and inside you have the Ariane5 launcher. Inside the Ariane5 launcher, you have two very special telecommunication satellites, MEASAT 3D and GSAT-24, who are both waiting patiently for the green light to lift off. We are now exactly 2 minutes and 50 seconds from the liftoff. What are the next steps before the launch?
Yes, so right now, as I mentioned before, the final tests are being done. All the valves are starting to be open and to be checked. And yes, in a few minutes, the control of the operations will be handed over to the launcher.
So we will have we're watching the countdown 2 minutes away from the launch. Just a question, we are focusing now on the liftoff, but after that, the flight is as important as the liftoff?
Yes, of course, the flight is the important part. The difference is that up to the liftoff, we can stop things if we see something that if we see an issue. After liftoff, it's the onboard computer who will manage the entire flight and up to the end, up to the separation of the satellites.
And have you ever been inside the control room during a launch?
Yes, I have been in the Jupiter room, but I have mostly been in the CDL3 room, which is the bunker located close to the launch pad. In this control room, we have the operation, quality and engineering teams that are following the last operations. And by the way, I take the opportunity to say hi to them, even if I know that at this time they are fully focused on what they're doing.
I don't know if we have the possibility to watch at the Jupiter room, because we see all the people in the Jupiter room moving to the windows. Well, those are the people.
Attention pour moins 1 minute.
So we just had an image of people watching.
Yes.
Because people are attending over there.
À 0 moins 1 minute.
Yes.
1 minute from the liftoff.
That's right.
DDO has just announced the countdown. Let's immediately go to the green panel on our screen. Make sure all is good, David.
Yes, for the time being, everything continues to be green, so we're still go for launch.
And now we are 42 seconds from the ignition. So this is the moment we've been all waiting for. Let's watch, let's cross fingers, and let's enjoy the show, because it's always incredible.
Yes.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain. Allumage 2 EAP, décollage. Propulsion nominale, tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux. Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
Well, we have just seen Ariane 5 disappear into space. Do stay with us, everyone, because what's going to happen next is as crucial as the launch. This is, of course, the moment when the two satellites, GSAT-24 and MEASAT 3D, are placed into orbit. David, you're our space expert tonight. Ariane 5 still has a long way to travel before the separation of the two satellites. Where and when will this happen, and how many kilometers away from the launch site?
Yes, we're not quite there yet, yes. MEASAT 3D will separate from the launcher in about 30 minutes, 1,200 kilometers out of Kenya. And GSAT-24 will separate about 10 minutes later above the Pacific Ocean, about 38,800 kilometers.
I imagine that everything is minutely calculated and programmed so that the satellites find their position themselves. So what can you tell me, David, is the
Everything is controlled by the onboard computer on the launcher. So the team in KOUROU, this is what we are hearing right now. They are receiving data from the launcher through the tracking stations, and they are checking that everything is going according to what was foreseen.
Well, I'm just focusing on those images, incredible images.
Incredible.
We're just watching. So it was really impressive, and it's really nice night.
Yes, it's clear skies.
Just before the satellites find their fun. I'm interrupted because we have video. Everything is okay. Yes. Before the satellites find their position in orbit, 36,000 kilometers above our head, David, what should we be focusing on?
So right now, yes, we just had the separation of the boosters.
Yeah, we can see it. It's
incredible.
Yes, we have very good images tonight. We have.
That's the first time we see it so clearly. That's incredible.
It really is.
So the launcher is at an altitude of about 70 kilometers and traveling about 7,000 kilometers per hour right now.
We will also, we've just heard the DDO has announced the fairing separation.
Yes. So
why we don't need it anymore?
No, the launcher has now reached an altitude around 110 kilometers where the atmosphere is really thin, and therefore we get rid of the fairing, which was there to protect the satellites from the atmosphere and from the liftoff.
So it's not already done. I'm confused. It's not already done. It will happen.
It should happen shortly, yes.
It should happen shortly. And you have
an earpiece.
An earpiece. And so you're directly connected to KOUROU. So you have.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Well, for all of you who've just joined us on Road to Space, the Ariane 5 rocket has just left the Guyana Space Center in KOUROU 3 minutes ago. And tonight we have two very special passengers on board, one from MEASAT, Malaysia's first satellite operator, and the second one from New Space India Limited, which is a public enterprise under the Indian Ministry of Space.
And in 20 minutes, MEASAT 3D will be the first released into space. David, can you tell us a bit more about its future position?
La propulsion est nominale.
Yes. So MEASAT 3D will be in geostationary position, 36,000 kilometers above the Earth. The satellite will be fixed with respect to the ground, as I explained before. And so it will be in what we call the 91.5 degree east orbital slot, which if you look at a world map, you will see that 91.5 degree longitude east is over the Indian Ocean, about 1,000 kilometers from Kuala Lumpur. So it will be in a perfect position to serve Malaysia and Southeast Asia.
4, 3, 2, 1, top. Allumage Vulcain. Allumage 2 EAP, décollage.
El cohete es de 2 etapas, más 2 propulsores sólidos. Está lanzando 2 satélites en órbita. Uno de Malasia y el otro de Corea del Sur.
Les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
Well, we have just seen Ariane 5 disappear into space. Do stay with us, everyone, because what's going to happen next is as crucial.
In about 30 minutes, 1,200 kilometers above Kenya. And GSAT-24 will separate about 10 minutes later above the Pacific Ocean, about 38,800 kilometers.
I imagine that everything is minutely calculated and programmed so that the satellites find their position themselves. So what can you tell me, David, is the role of the team in KOUROU at this stage?
Yes, indeed.
On the low part of the screen, what is this?
So yes, you have there the altitude of the launcher at this time. So you see it's about 160 kilometers. The distance from the launch pad, which is about 700 kilometers. And the speed, which right now is getting close to 5 kilometers per second, yes.
Well, we'll see the replay later on in the program, but Ariane 5 will have a long flight tonight, as I said before. Together we will follow all the different stages together until the separation of both satellites and the acquisition of MEASAT 3D in approximately 45 minutes. Earlier we mentioned this flight was the first of the year for Ariane 5. So David, how many flights does Ariane 5 approximately make per year?
Well, in past years, Ariane 5 has flown on average 6 times per year. Of course, with the recent COVID crisis, the launch rate has decreased, and we had 3 launches in 2020 and 3 more in 2021. Thanks, by the way, to the big effort of all the teams in this difficult situation.
Of course, Ariane 5 is not the only rocket to take off from the Guyana Space Center every year. How many rockets take off from Kourou annually?
Well, in recent years, again, with COVID, we have had about 7 launches per year. But before that, we had as many as 11 or 12 launches per year.
Wow, okay. Well, when it comes to large spaceports, there are often different advantages relating to both the site and the location. But what about Kourou? Why is it one of the most efficient and effective launch sites in the world?
Well, with its location, which is very close to the equator, Kourou offers the launchers an extra push when going to space, when going towards the east, thanks to the rotation of the Earth. So this is a great advantage when going into geostationary orbit, like it is the case today. This push, together with the low inclination orbits that can be reached, is a great advantage for the customers because they will use less fuel to go into orbit. And also the geography makes it possible to launch towards the north, towards the east. So all kinds of orbits are possible to be reached from Kourou.
Okay, and David, while you were explaining us, we hear the DDO announcing Natal acquisition. Just a word about that, please.
Yes, so Natal, as you see on the screen, is a tracking station that is located in the east of Brazil. And so this is the tracking station that is now receiving the information from the launcher. Again, as we move east, different tracking stations will follow the launcher along the way.
And so at the time we are talking, the rocket in the sky does not look anything like the one we saw leaving Kourou 8 minutes ago. It has now separated from the main core stage. Can you explain us what it means?
Yes, so the DDO just announced, yes, the fact that the main stage has been separated. And he just announced that the upper stage engine has been ignited. So yeah, as we go along, of course, the stages are used up, the propellant is used up, the stages are separated. Right now, the launcher configuration that you see on the screen is about 30 tons, to be compared to the 775 tons that we had at the time of liftoff.
Quite incredible.
So the higher you go, the lighter it will be. The lighter you get. We just hear the loss of Galliot signal, if I'm right. I'm just looking. Yeah, we lost Galliot signal. What does it mean? Does it mean the rocket is out of sight, out of here, out of connection?
With Kourou, yes, that's right. Galliot is the tracking station in Kourou.
Bueno, quiero agradecerles una vez más por haber estado acá, por acompañarme, por el apoyo. Un abrazo enorme. Nos vemos a la próxima. Gracias.